the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing. I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known. Would have kept me from the one I had today. From my home, cracked and broken asphalt everywhere. I could have ended up just like that broken road, with a dead end in my path. Thank the Lord that I've got more than that. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing. I won't forget the lessons that I don't deserve. Because one street over there's a life I could have known, would have kept me from the one I love today. One street over there's a
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. This is 1100 WSG. I'm U-Turn LaVern, and this is One Street Over. You know, sometimes we just really like to let the guys sing us in. Because that is our very own Ridge Top Ramblers, the song One Street Over. If you're new to the program, that's where we got the name. I heard them sing that song at the Kilgore Station Bluegrass Festival, fell in love with it, and I always told them, I said, man, that would be just a great theme song and title for a program sometime if we ever did any kind of a talk show or a podcast. And it took a couple of years, and then when they approached me about doing this show, I asked the guys, I said, hey, can we use that? And man, it's just such a great fit because I love it, the chance to just talk to you guys about what's going on one street over from where you live in. We are going to be talking to the folks at TriStar and Northcrest today. And that's always an interesting conversation. They'll be in here at 7:30. A couple of other things, though, that I want to get into before we get a guest in here. There's so much going on. And I got this little paper last night. This is Let's Talk Trash. The Keenan Group does this. And I haven't had Debbie in here in forever. And so she doesn't know it yet. But I got this in the mail. I guess it came in earlier this week in the paper. But I thought when I got it, I was like, man, I've got to reach out and see if we can't get Debbie in here just to talk to her about this, because this has been going on for a while. And they do this, I'm wanting to say once a quarter. And it reminds me a lot of the little highlight magazines that we had as kids that we would do all the little the things that would be in the dentist office or the doctor's office when you were young, that they had those little, papers or little books that you go out and there's, little things in there for the kids to do. But as I was going through it, I love that, she talks to Dr. Weeks, talks to our sheriff, our, police chief, all the different ones. And there's, little things and little factoids and things like that in here. But then she also will make, if there's something really cool coming up, she'll make an announcement about it. And this is something I had no idea was coming up. I've not heard anyone mention this. And maybe it's because it's over in Ashland City, but that's up the street, y'all. This is a World War II history floating museum. It's the USS Landing Ship Tank 325 that is going to be in Ashland City at the River Bluff Park on October 1st through the 6th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can get, school groups together to go to this, but this is the coolest thing. And looking at these pictures, man, that is just neat that this is going to be up the street from us. And I had seen nothing about this. And so I wanted to make sure and have some time to just kind of talk about those things. We haven't had a chance really to get anybody in either to talk about Discover Robertson County and or experience Robertson County. And so I want to do something. I want us to kind of go through that schedule this morning and do a little bit with that. The chamber, they put that on every year. And so I want us to spend some time looking at that. And so just a little few things that are going on around town that I just want to make sure that we've not missed, because sometimes when this stuff comes up and it just hasn't hit our radar, we really appreciate it when you guys tell us about things that maybe we haven't talked about, that have slipped through the cracks a little bit, and keep us on track with all the different cool things that are going on around town. But again, Debbie, I'm going to be reaching out because I would really love to have you come in and talk to us about your little publication here. Let's Talk Trash. I know it's been going on, I don't know, maybe 10 years now. Maybe even longer than that, but then I might have it wrong. But it's a really cool little feature that they have in the newspaper, and you can pick these up. They'll have them in little stands all over town. Get them for your kids. They're so interesting and so much fun. But it's got a September and October calendar in here of all the things that are coming up that you need to be a part of. This time they've got SRO Deputy Michael Mitchum is in this. We had our SRO, one of our SROs from Greenbrier that was in there last year. I remember we had him in there. And so that was a big deal. But there's an article in here from Dr. Danny Weeks. There is an article in here from Sheriff Van Dyke. So it's just a really cool little publication. I want to encourage you just to get this and share it with your kiddos. There's a really cool thing. Let's see. She's got the Constitution stuff in here. Constitution Day is coming up. And so they always, when they have Constitution Day, they put special stuff in here for the Constitution. She's got something here about the first 10 amendments, of course, the Bill of Rights, and just cool stuff. It's just a cool little publication, and it's so good for your kiddos. So we're going to be reaching out to Deb and see if we can't get her in here to talk about the Keenan Group and all that they're continuing to do in our community and just the cool stuff. But this, one more time on what's going on in Ashland City, this is something you're going to want to put on your calendar. It's on October 1st through 6th from 9 to 5 p.m. at River Bluff Park in Ashland City. This is a World War II USS landing ship Tank 325, a floating memorial and living museum. It's a self-guided tour, but it is just cool. Adults get in for $20, kids are 10, children under 5 are free, but that is going to be really, really cool. And that's going to be something that some of you might want to try to get some school groups together. Oh, and speaking of school groups, this is another thing I want to mention. We went to the theater over the last week to see Odyssey, and it was fabulous. And just love that we have a theater now in town because, number one, I've got all these movie posters up in my classroom, and the kids are always, Miss Vivio, have you seen this movie? I'm not one to sit in movies very well. I have a really short attention span. And so when my husband suggested we go watch a 3-hour movie, I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. It was so good. And the fact that it's here in town will get me to the theater. Because I stay so busy, I'm so hesitant to try to drive outside of my world to go to a movie. So thrilled when they brought the theater back here in Springfield, and they did just a fabulous job of it. The young people that are working in there as their staff are just wonderful, and it's just so well done. But when I was in there watching Odyssey, my mind wandered some, you know how you do, and I thought, man, I wonder if they would ever do movies and let field trips come in here, because I'm teacher thought now. Everything my world just revolves around what we can do with our kids to give our kids some unique experiences. And lo and behold, I'm on social media last night or this morning or whenever it was 2 hours ago. So I guess it was dark 30 when we got up to walk this morning. So I see it and it says, do you have a group of students? We offer daytime field trips with movies at the Capitol Theater. And, you read my mind, Michael. I was wondering if y'all did that. So they have got some special private movie showings available for schools, clubs, and organizations and homeschool groups. And what they say is just email them, and I suppose that they can give you a list of the availabilities. Because, when you look at movies and what can be seen, you have contractual issues about, okay, you can show this movie this time or whatever. I love that they're showing some of the old classics. That's so much fun. But you can turn it into such a history lesson just giving the kids a tour of the facility. And I really want to learn more about that because I'm an audio and video production teacher. So, man, I'm trying to figure out how I can tie this into a field trip for my kiddos. I've already got several field trips scheduled, but man, this is one I would really love to do. So I'm going to be calling and reaching out to them and saying, what kind of movie can we show that would be just really a good one to show from a historical perspective? Something like Wizard of Oz. There's a lot of history. There was a lot of firsts done in the Wizard of Oz that we could tie into a lesson for audio and video production, and just so much about the way the theater was built. I think it, just I don't want to get into the things that I think that I know about the theater because I don't know. These are things that somebody has told me, well, this is that, and this was, I want to get it verified before I start running my mouth about what I know about the theater, because I think I know some about it, but until I talk to somebody that's actually studied it, and I imagine Danny Ashley would be a real good one, but I just love that they're doing that, and I think that's just a really cool thing. And something I hadn't even thought about, that they videotaped the play Making Hands, which is about the history of Robertson County. That would be a really fun thing to show there. And if we ever get the movie that they shot where our very own Terry Martin was a bad cop in it, wouldn't that be fun to premiere there? But I just think about all the fun things we could do. There's the movie that they did in downtown with Johnny Cash, The Last Days of Jesse James. Wouldn't that be a fun one to go in there and watch? So I don't know. I got all kinds of ideas. That would be one that I might be able to bring my kids to because of the way they transform downtown for the production. I could tie that all into curriculum and lesson. I'm just telling you. But as soon as I saw that, I was so excited to see that this is something that's happening with the Capitol Theater, daytime field trips for students. Reach out to them. I put the link on there. I put the little banner that they put up for that on my page. So go and check it out, Springfield Capitol Theater, and you can email them for questions and information just to find out what the possibilities are. But I will be in touch. Because that really, I thought that was so exciting. Okay, so some other things we need to talk about. We've been talking about the fair. I'll get my little fair book out. And we want to remind everybody that the fair, of course, is coming up. And we're going to just be beating the drum for this big because we want you to understand that the fair is not going to have rides. I'm trying to stand everything up, but I want everybody to remember the fair is not going to have rides on the first day that we get in there. Oh, and that was I put that up. That's not the fair. This is the Fuquay Head Benefit Pool that's coming up on Labor Day weekend. So we're going to mention that again too. But the fair is coming up and the books are just absolutely gorgeous. I love them. It is coming up starting the 22nd. The parade will end at the fairgrounds and it's free admission. You're going to go in. There's not going to be any rides running because they're still doing the safety checks on them, but that makes it to where they can give you free admission to the fair. How cool is that? So that's how it's going to go, but we want to encourage you to go and get these cool little fair books. And I've just got to brag again on my friend's grandson's in there. Little Thomas is in there. I messaged her and I said, did you see that he's in the fair book? And she says, oh, you mean in one of the 6 copies that I sent back home? So anyway, but it is very well done. And it's got all the information you need about the fair. I'm not going to go through the schedule. We just did that with Trent on Monday, and we will be doing that again as we get closer in. But I do want to mention that. But we also don't want to, we will be remiss if we don't mention the fact that coming up, we've got Experience Robertson County. This is a chamber event, and this is something that every time I've ever gone, it has been such a great blessing, but it is coming up on the 12th of September. And it's one of those things that you need to, you can get your little pass book and go around and visit all the different locations to see what's going on to experience Robertson County. But it is always such a wonderful event. And we just want to encourage you to put that on your calendar. We know there's so many things to put on your calendar that day, but you can get it all in. I have seen days that we've gone to experience Robertson County and we just did it all. We were all over the place and we visited a lot of different locations. Maybe you can't get to all of them, but what you do is if you go to, there is on the chamber page, that's not where you go. You go to Experience Robertson County, and you'll see all the different things that will be popping up. And it talks about that it starts at 9 a.m., and you click on that, and it's a self-guided tour of all the different cool places that you can go. You get your little passport book, and from there, you just go and you see all the cool things that there are. Go by the chamber. You can get your book and get the list of everything that's going to be coming up. But it is coming up very quickly. It is on September 12th this year, and you're going to want to be a part of all the things that they have at Experience Robertson County. You can flip through and look at all the different places that they're going to have for you to visit and just kind of get an idea of what's going to be on the agenda. But be sure and get that on your list of things to do because it is coming up super quickly. Again, it is on the 12th of September. Experience Robertson County. Go to their social media page and click on it, and it'll just kind of walk you through everything. Now, we're going to be very quickly transitioning to what we have going on with Northcrest TriStar. Always an interesting conversation when we have the folks come in. We're going to have Pete Long Ennis, our CEO, is coming in with Dr. Craig Ennis, and it's going to be an interesting conversation. So as we get ready for that, we're going to go ahead and talk about one of our sponsors. And we're going to start with Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty. If you have any needs in the real estate community, they are just wonderful folks to work with. They have been with this program, the longest running sponsors of this program. They've been with us since the very beginning, and they're dear friends of mine. They live up here in Cross Plains. They got to Robertson County about the same time I did, a little over 30 years ago. And so because of that, their specialty is Robertson County properties. But as we always talk about, they have, roots in Kentucky. That's where they grew up. So they do understand the nuances of having property in maybe a home in Kentucky, but working in Tennessee and the implications of that, because that's not something you can just, do without thinking about the fact that there is there's an income state tax in Kentucky. If you work in Tennessee, you still got to pay that income state tax that's up in Kentucky. So there's a lot of things you need to consider if you want to buy property in Kentucky. And one thing too, you have to have a broker that can broker deals in Kentucky. They changed the laws in Kentucky. Not everybody can, but they've got one in the White House office for Exit Prime Realty that can. And so they can absolutely help you. Rebecca's agency office is in White House. You can contact her and find out more. Barry's brokerage office is here in downtown, right on the square. They would love to meet with you no matter what it is you're looking at, buying or selling, or whether you want to be a realtor. Is that something you want to look into, that you want to work in real estate? He famously says he might talk you out of it because he's super honest about the fact that you are self-employed and your income is going to be specifically how much you want to get in there and how much work you want to do. And that's not for everybody. So he goes, I'm super honest about it, but it's so interesting. They're so good at it. They both changed their careers and went full-time with real estate. Rebecca, many years ago, she's one of the first in the area to be a senior real estate specialist. But Barry, it's probably been about 5-6 years, I guess, since he went full-time with real estate. But if you want to contact them, no matter what your real estate question or real estate needs, you reach out to them at sellwithbecky.com, or by BUY RobertsonCounty.com, or you can give them a call, 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425, or 7424. And please always let them know U-Turn sent you. And yesterday I told my husband, I said, I guess I am probably the only person that turned on the radio and opened a microphone that didn't mention Dolly Parton. And I've had a lot of people ask me about her. And as many years, everybody thinks about, just because I worked in Nashville radio all these years, that I met all these folks. If you want to know about country music radio, talk to Devin O'Day. She met them all. She worked with Jerry House for many years. And so she knows them all. I don't. I have met very, very few people in the country music world because I always worked with the political side of it, with news talk radio, rock stations, adult contemporary stations, and those kinds of things. So I never had the honor of meeting Dolly, and that's one. She and Johnny Cash are the two that I always wish, man, I wish I could have figured out some way to have just met them and let them know how much I admired them, and just was in awe of the careers they had. It was so fascinating. There's all you got to do is just turn any social media on, and you're going to be inundated with stories about Dolly. One of the favorite ones I saw was where she was on the Johnny Carson show and had written a song for Johnny and played it. And it was just the best thing. It was just so cute. And then just really about a week or two before her passing, she had been given an award, a poetry award from the Country Music Association. And she recorded her response to that saying thank you. And it was just so profound what she had to say. It was just so beautiful. So look that up. That's another beautiful thing. And I know at WSM Radio, they are encouraging everybody to play I Will Always Love You this morning at 8 o'clock. And, you got to think about it. I don't know what we are licensed to where we can play. We are a old-fashioned gospel radio station, so I don't know if we can play that. I don't know. Maybe ILU's got it plugged into where it'll play at 8 o'clock, but you're going to hear radio stations across the region playing one of Dolly's biggest hits, that I Will Always Love You, and we will always love you, Dolly. And we're wearing pink today for Dolly Parton at our school. We have so many teachers that are just enormous fans. Yesterday, when the bells would ring, the bell would ring and we'd dismiss for class, and then through the speakers was Dolly Parton songs. Now, because I work with sound and all of those things, it was a little bit grating because the sound quality was not awesome, but it was sweet that they were remembering Dolly in such a way. And I mean, who else would you remember in those ways? I saw a picture of two of my grandkids going off to school yesterday, and their Dolly Parton T-shirts, and and it's just one of those things we don't really realize, that like Elvis and like Johnny Cash, Dolly will live on forever, and in her music and in her personality. Of course, Imagination Library, and we wrote a little story. The kids wrote a story. I challenged my kids that came in right after the announcement was made that Dolly had passed, and I put them together in a group and gave them a whiteboard, and I said, write a story about Dolly. And they did. And it was so interesting because they are a generation that grew up with Imagination Library, getting the books, and road trips to Dollywood. That was a line from one of the kiddos. Christian came up with that. He goes, I said something about Dollywood, and he goes, yeah, road trips to Dollywood. And I was like, yeah, that's what they grew up with, and including my grandkids, because they had the T-shirts and stuff on yesterday and went to school. So you're going to see a lot of pink. You're going to see a lot of flamboyance. Oh, and I saw that Springfield, and this was on one of the hip sites, that they're putting together a Dolly Day for Springfield. And I want to say it's like the last Friday of the Friday of the fair week is what I think it is, if I'm not mistaken, because I'm wanting to say it's the 26th. So that would fall inside the fair dates. But they're wanting to do a Dolly Day. And I don't know if they've put together that that's also during Fair Week, and that might just play beautifully. But they're encouraging everybody to put on the pink and the rhinestones and anything over the top. So I'm really curious to see how that's going to come together. So this is why I didn't really book anybody this morning, is because there's so much going on. And everywhere I turn, I'm just like, just getting inundated with all these things that are happening. So guys, from Experience Robertson County on the 12th. And of course, then there's the suicide awareness 5K that morning as well up at the fairgrounds. You can do that, and then go and do the Experience Robertson County Fair kicking off on the 22nd. There's not any rides that day. We've got a warship coming in that's going to be up in Ashland City on October 1st through 6th. So stinking cool. You can now get field trips to our Capitol Theater. So neat. And then we've got the Fuquay Head Benefit Pool coming up September 5th through the 6th. And I could have gotten Lee Marie in here, and she'd have had just a long list of things that they're doing at Well in the Square. They've got an article out about her and the Well in the Square and all the cool stuff that they're doing in staypositive.news. Great article. So just there you go. I mean, just tons of stuff. I could continue talking about it, but we've got guests that I'm going to bring in. You guys come on in. Hello. I don't know if they can hear me out there. I have to remind everybody. I turn the mic on, and then I don't do anything but that. Hello, out in the lobby, y'all come on in. Dr. Ennis, can you hear me? Hello. I don't think they can hear me. I'm going to just keep talking until they hear me. But hey, guys, come on in. Hello, come on in. It's so funny. I'm trying to get my guests to come on in. It's like I'm live, and so when I go live, I'm just live. I can't get up and welcome you in. Dr. Ennis, is that you? Yes. Come on and sit right here. I thought that that Pete was coming too.
Pete is trying, but traffic.
Okay, so traffic. Okay, so traffic has been a problem, but well, welcome, guys. And that's always if I don't have a guest in here when it hits right at 7:30, just ease on in because it's time for us to go ahead and just kind of keep going. We stay live. Hi, Doc.
Hi there. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm excellent.
You know, I was sitting here looking at you and Pete's last names are really kind of the same, except spelled different.
Yes. Well, his spelling is the Scottish spelling. Mine's the Irish spelling.
Okay, but it's pronounced the same.
Yes.
Well, see, that's what I was wondering if that was the case because as I'm looking at it, I'm like, I really think that's the same name. And we're talking about our CEO of TriStar Northcrest, Pete Long Ennis, and this is Dr. Craig Ennis, and you're a
gastroenterologist.
There you go. Paula's here.
I'm here, yes.
She's here too. She normally hides over here.
I hide over in the
She hides over here and she's not talking on the mic, so she's just trying to hide. She's just kind of keeping Pete's seat warm until he gets here because he's gotten stuck in traffic. But I find these conversations so interesting because I have intentionally been moving my doctors here because I have always, because I worked in Nashville. And I mean, even though I lived here, everything was in Nashville. I don't want to go to Nashville no more.
Yeah, that's why I'm here.
I hate going to Nashville. I mean, I've been there since I got to Nashville in 1983. It has changed a lot. And it is just so hard to navigate, And I haven't gotten everything here, but a lot, And I'm just so thrilled to see people coming in and going and doing their practice here. So welcome. That's wonderful. Are you new to this area?
I was recruited by CHS to work at Tennova Clarksville in 2016.
Okay.
And long story short, I lived in Hendersonville because I had a kid that was in high school at the time. So he was going to JP2. And I commuted back and forth and we worked out a deal and I've been doing it for 10 years.
Awesome.
And then with the sale of the hospital, TriStar offered me a position to work in Northcrest and at Hendersonville.
Okay.
So I'm splitting time between the two hospitals.
Okay. And are you still doing that?
I just started doing that August 1st. And
okay.
Plan to do that for the next 10 years, God willing.
I hear you. My kids were at Good Pasture.
Okay.
And so a lot of times where your kids are going to school really affects the things that you do.
Yes.
Because you meet people in different areas. And I've apologized to this audience many times because I have lived in Robertson County 2 miles from here since 92 and knew very little about my county until I started doing this radio show. And I'm now teaching in the district. I teach audio and video production, but it's just such a beautiful community. Don't you just love it?
Oh, yes.
It's just amazing.
I'm from a small town in California, so I'm very accustomed to those exist.
Wow. What part of California?
Actually, San Bernardino County, so east of LA.
Okay.
We almost never went to LA. It was very far away by those times standards. Mm-hmm. My town wasn't small. There was about 35,000, but immediately around it were all the little small communities, and those kids would get bused into our schools. So you kind of learned where those people live, and you would go visit them and realize there's a lot of small places in California.
Oh, I love. We go through California. We do mission work down in Mexico every year, and so we fly into San Diego and go out from there, and so we've gotten to know San Diego really well. But it was so funny because we had to do a road trip to Mexico. We had a van that our church here bought for the church in Mexico. And so my husband and I drove it.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. So we got to see all the little nooks and everything going into San Diego. So it was fascinating. And it's a great. So when did you get to Tennessee?
2016.
2016. Well, welcome.
Yes.
It's different.
Oh, yes. Well, but again, came from a small community, so this was kind of like a throwback to the old days.
Yeah.
And I will not go back.
I hear you. I hear you. It is wonderful. And so have you, how does it work? It's like different doctor's offices and stuff. So you have an office and people can come in for an office visit, or do they have to be referred to you?
So
how does all that work?
So I had a very large clientele in Clarksville. So in an effort to try to help maintain that relationship with those patients, we have an office in Pleasant View that's right off the interstate at exit 24. And that's kind of the brains of the operation. But we also have a satellite office in Hendersonville. And then I'm performing procedures here in Northcrest at the hospital 2 days a week, and then 2 days a week in Hendersonville.
Okay, so how does what you do, it sounds like it differs from what somebody would be like an internist or anything, because it sounds exactly what all do you do?
Right,
because we'd have the ones that we go and get our colonoscopies and all this kind of stuff. Is that you?
That's me. I'm the guy that does the colonoscopies.
Okay.
But I did an internal medicine residency, and then I did a gastroenterology fellowship. I did all that in San Diego.
Okay.
And then as a gastroenterologist, board certified gastroenterologist, I perform a lot of colonoscopies, upper endoscopies, but I'm also a biliary endoscopist, so I do a lot of scopes to remove stones from the bile duct. When people have stones in the bile duct, these surgeons can remove your gallbladder, but it's very difficult for them to remove stones from the bile duct. So I take a scope through the mouth and fish my way down there and get them out.
Okay. Well, that's interesting because, I was when I see that Pete's here. Do you want to let him come in, Paula? But it's good to see you, sis. But come on in, sir. We were discussing on your way in that your names are the same, but the different spellings. Because it's like when I was typing those in, I'm like, okay, I know this, but I knew there was an explanation, the Scottish Irish part of it. So,
That's right.
Anyway, but I was getting the clarification on what he does and all the different things. And you were talking about the dealing with gallbladders and things. I'm a twin mom. Okay. And I will never forget right after I had twins that were 7'11" and 7'5" at 8 months.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Jeez.
Yeah. Big boys.
Bless you.
And they were paternal, completely different. I mean, the whole spiel. And I mean, without getting too much information here, one of the kids' placentas was so big, I think they're still testing it somewhere because it went out in like this test thing. They're like, "Can we have it?" And we're like, "Yeah, it's yours." So anyway, but I've always been told, and you tell me if this is true, I had a gallbladder episodes right after my pregnancy. And they say that they probably did something while I was pregnant because of that massive amount of baby. And could that have really been what caused my gallbladder problems?
Well,
do you think?
It's the stasis in the gallbladder that occurs with fasting and in pregnancy as a hormonal component to it.
Okay.
So that's why gallstones are more common in women than in men. But also there's probably some additional components. In Southern California, I would see a lot of young women who would have gallbladder episodes within weeks of having their first child. And so we were performing scopes on people to remove their stones at age 17, 18, 19, 20.
Wow.
So
yeah, I was super young. I mean, I was in my 20s, late 20s, but still it seemed pretty young. And I thought I was dying. I don't think people have any idea of the fear it puts me. I had no idea what was going on. Freaked me out.
As a side note, when women say, you have no idea what childbirth's like. If you interview women, they'll tell you, well, childbirth is a little bit like kidney stones and gallstones. There you go. Okay.
Very good.
That's what I've been told.
Get your attention.
Turn that microphone to you there, Pete, if you don't mind.
So I don't know if that's a fair statement, but that's what I've heard from many women.
Yeah, because being guys, you can't really know.
Nope, right.
And I'm a woman that I used epidurals, so I'm like, I don't really know either. I've got friends that did the whole thing, and I'm like,
power to you.
Yeah.
More power to you. Yeah, I'm like modern medicine. I love modern medicine.
Yeah.
Take advantage of it while you can.
That's just it. But I've always, been told that. But I have seen people panic and be in pain and look at them and go, you've either got kidney stones or you've got something going on with your gallbladder, just to reassure them, you're going to be okay. You're not having a heart attack. Because Do some people sometimes mistake something with their gallbladder or something like that for heart attacks? Because
That-
it is freaky. I
Yeah,
mean,
there
it
is a little
freaks
bit
you
of
out.
there is a little bit of a crossover, but most people with gallbladder attacks, it's more of an abdominal pain than chest pain.
Yeah.
Acid reflux can have a severe chest pain. So I get patients from the ER and the cardiologist who think they're having a heart attack. Turns out it's their acid reflux
Okay.
causing chest pain. But yes, there is some overlap with gallbladder disease too.
And you mentioned something about fasting causing problems for gastrological stuff. And that's a trend right now
Oh,
for
yes.
people.
Mhm.
Are you seeing an uptick in
Modern
problems?
modern medicine, as you said, is good, but it's keeping me in business. And that and the people that are taking their ibuprofen and getting bleeding ulcers.
Yeah. See, I'm one of these. I don't take anything
Mhm.
other than a few vitamins,
Well, what we've
But-
seen a lot is changes that we've had to make in the system because of GLP-1 inhibitors. And so, like, for example, if patients are needing to be NPO, so not eating anything before surgery, we have to
Yeah.
wait a longer period now because of that how long it takes for your system to kind of clear out and get a really, diagnostically clear picture when Dr. Ennis is doing a scope or anything like that.
Wow. And it's
Yeah.
because of the diet drugs and stuff.
It's
that
because of
everybody's-
that, fasting or that stasis that he was.
The
Really?
GLP-1s will cause you to retain things in your stomach. So when we perform surgery of any kind, if you have a full stomach, you're far more likely to aspirate and get pneumonia. And that's one
Right.
of the leading complications of anesthetic related complications. So that's why if it's an elective case, you got to wait a whole week after your last injection before we can proceed.
Okay. From the injection perspective
Yeah,
and stuff. Wow.
Because your body's got to clear out that drug and basically kind of reset itself so that
Yeah.
we can make sure we've got clear pictures to see and
Mm-hmm.
do what we need to do.
Well, and I mean, then that stuff, there's a lot of people using it too, aren't they?
Oh, yes.
And I not me, not my husband. I don't know. I'm just like,
Two weeks ago, I had 3 people in between the 2 hospitals, all who had acute complications from their GLP-1s,
really?
pancreatitis primarily.
That's the thing that I'm so, I don't know. I'm a big fan of modern medicine and all the things, but you just got to be so
They
careful.
come with a cost,
Yeah. Yeah.
financially and
Yeah.
and literally.
True.
Yeah, for sure. You've got to be so careful.
Yeah.
And
what works for one does not work for all.
True.
And so
That's
for,
true.
Yeah.
the wide variety of results that people will have or the wide variety of, side effects that someone's going to experience, it's different. That's why it's just important to always consult with your healthcare provider when you're going through those things. And,
oh yeah, absolutely.
trusting Dr. Google and the various AIs has its limits in terms of someone who's had decades of experience seeing
Yeah.
human behavior and human anatomy.
So, but this is fascinating to me because people just don't understand. When people are always looking for that quick fix, and the quick fix is getting some exercise, eating right, living right, all these kinds of things. My husband and I get up and walk in the morning.
It's huge.
We're in our 60s and we try to, stay as healthy as we can, but the older you get, the harder it gets. I mean, it
Oh, yes,
really
very hard.
does. Things slow down, but we try to stay after it. But I'm so glad that you're here because so many people neglect their health in regards to all the things that are going on with their colonoscopies. And I've had so many friends. I had a young friend that worked in Nashville with me, and I'll never forget it. Her mother had, and this has been, oh goodness, 20, 30 years ago. And her mother had early colon cancer. And she, tried her best to stay in front of it. She ended up getting it very young and passing from it. And her mother had, and so had she. And the hereditary aspect of it is huge, isn't it?
Yes. So I'm going to plug here.
Okay, go.
All right. So colon cancer is still in the top 5 of cancer deaths in the United States. Was number
Really?
2. It might be number 3, depending who you read. Kills more Americans than breast cancer. It's only
Wow.
second or third only to lung cancer. The best weapon for you is screening.
Mhm.
We can probably, by screening for colon cancer, by doing colonoscopies, not only are we detecting colon cancer early, but we're removing polyps.
Mhm.
If we remove polyps, it's very hard to get cancer.
Really?
Okay, so every cancer essentially starts off as a polyp that goes bad, and they grow slow enough that if you get a colonoscopy every so often and remove the polyps, you're going to be much better off. So in terms of things that Americans do to save lives, quit smoking,
Yeah.
treat your high blood pressure, wear seatbelts, get a colonoscopy.
Rules to
Colonoscopy.
live
Say it again. Say it
Colonoscopy,
again.
colonoscopy save more lives than mammograms.
Really?
Yes.
And what he said though, quit smoking. And what was the other one?
Quit smoking, treat your high blood pressure, wear your seatbelts, and get a colonoscopy.
Okay, the
you
traffic reporter and me will say wear your seatbelt, absolutely. And
For
don't
sure.
drive motorcycles.
Right, right.
Quit.
And of course,
Get off your motorcycle.
and of
I'm
course,
sorry.
treating your high cholesterol. If you want to run out 5, it's probably
Yeah.
those 5.
Okay, so this is something I've had. I'm just going to get free medical advice here today. So, what is your thoughts on? I have a little bit of plaque in my arteries, just tiny, tiny little bit. And I've had a couple of times they've wanted to put me on cholesterol meds, but I don't have high cholesterol. Why in the world would I want to take high cholesterol meds?
So,
I don't take anything.
You're getting out of my wheelhouse a little bit.
I know, I
But
know, I know.
There are formulas.
I want your opinion, your personal opinion.
There are formulas out there where they add in your cholesterol, your age, all your risk factors, family risk factors, and then they'll add in your calcium score, which is plaque buildup in the
Yeah.
arteries that you can see on imaging. And from that, they can determine there are people that are probably better off on cholesterol medicine than not. The benefits of statins far outweigh the risks.
Really?
The benefits of statins far outweigh the risks. There are people who don't tolerate statins. I'm sorry, they'll have to move on to something else. And there are other things out there now. But if you look at things that have saved people from early premature cardiac death, statins are number 1.
Really?
Yes.
He's fun, y'all. He's a fun doctor. I like doctors I can talk to and have a real conversation with. And
Yeah.
not all doctors are that way.
True.
Everybody you've brought in here has been fun.
Well, we've got
You know?
just the dream team over
Yeah.
at Monecrest. But
So-
it's a great chance, I think, for folks to have conversations like these and
Yeah.
ask the questions from the experts.
I love that. And again, what you're saying about the colonoscopy, my friend, I think about her so often if she'd had early detection. I have another friend whose husband just suddenly had it, had never had a colonoscopy, and he was in his 50s, and it had taken him over.
Yeah, and they keep
You know?
revising the guidelines in terms of if you've got a family history, like when you should pursue colonoscopy. And I'm
Right.
sure you've got the latest.
Oh, yeah, right. Well, just to go off on a slightly other plug, a lot of people like to do Cologuard.
Right.
Okay,
I was
which-
going to ask you.
Which if you have an aversion to colonoscopy, Cologuard is better than doing nothing.
Gotcha.
Cologuard has a high false positive rate. So if you have a positive result, doesn't mean you're dead or doomed, just means you have to have a colonoscopy.
Yeah, then you got to go get it done.
Right, right. And you have to do a Cologuard every 3 years. If
Okay.
you read the fine print, Cologuard is not for people who have a family history of colon cancer, a history of polyps, bleeding, or active symptoms.
Okay.
It is a screening tool.
It is a screening
It
tool.
must be used like other tools in specific situations.
So tell me this, if you've had colonoscopy and everything's good. So how, when the older you get, what is the rate that you need to have them done as you get older?
So if you have no family history, you've never had any polyps every 10 years.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You can go that long.
Right. And depending on which organization you read or listen to, the termination point is roughly age 80. That doesn't mean if you're 70 and you have a colonoscopy, it's normal, and you get to 80, you don't have to have one. That means you had 10 years where things could have grown. So you should have one when you're 80.
Right.
And in which case, after that, you probably don't need another if they don't find much.
Mm-hmm.
But your body, as it gets older, doesn't just say, oh, that's against the rules. Can't have polyps now.
Yeah.
So as you age and people are living longer, you're going to see that goalpost move. Guaranteed. And,
Go ahead. Go.
and the other age-related thing to keep in mind, this is the big one, is that colon cancer is on the rise in people in their late 40s. So the start date for when you should get your first colonoscopy is moved from age 50 to 45.
Really?
Yes, and those are the tragedies we've seen a lot of over the last decade, is an increase in people who are in their last half of their fifth decade, in their late 40s, having colon cancer and not being detected, and not people thinking that's what it would be because they're too young.
So are you seeing, is there a reason why we're seeing it? I mean,
Well, no one knows that, but I'll
Yeah.
tell you here and now, it's the food.
really?
It's probably the environment. It's probably lots of things. More processed food now than we had
Yeah.
50 years ago.
Just
I'm
not
sure
good for
it's
you, yeah.
I'm sure it's related to that. It may have a lot to do with people being more overweight now.
Okay.
So I'm sure there's a number of factors like that, but that hasn't been worked out. I'm only projecting a presumption of what we think it's going to be.
When you talk about the food, what kind of, I mean, everybody's like, you need to eat the Mediterranean diet.
Well, I'm not going to plug a specific diet, but if you like to eat fast food and you eat out a lot, things will happen.
Yeah, it's terrible for you.
Yes.
I have people all the time. We don't eat out much.
So-
and the reason why, I want to know what I'm eating.
All right. Well,
I don't when I,
have-
eat
That's
out.
great.
I have 2 people in the hospital right now who have acute gastroenteritis, fancy word for food poisoning. And they both were eating out when this happened.
Really?
Yes.
And it's acute. So I mean that means
Yes.
they got really sick.
I won't name restaurants.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
They were eating out at establishments you've all heard of.
oh wow. Yeah. See, and that's the thing, guys. You just got to be so careful. And I love the treat of going out to eat and all those kind of things. But we just, my family, my kids, because of baseball and all the things, they eat out so much, and I hate to see it. Now, when my kids were very little, they probably ate too many chicken nuggets,
Chicken and fries.
you
Sometimes
know?
it's a Band-Aid that you
Right.
just need to put
It's
on
just
there.
because you're on the
On the
run all
go,
the
yeah.
time, and but it's so expensive. But you know, but that's one thing. That's something people will say when it comes to trying to eat healthy. It's more expensive to eat healthy than it is to eat cheap stuff, and not if you do it right.
Yeah.
All right. My final plug.
Go.
Everything in moderation, including moderation.
Including moderation.
So
I
you
love
can
it.
have the chicken nuggets, but you can't be eating them every day.
You can't. Yeah.
And if you're eating stuff, drinking stuff that has high fructose corn syrup in it, maybe you shouldn't.
What about artificial sweeteners then?
Okay, well, we can go on about that for hours.
I'm just curious. I love.
think,
Yeah.
I think everything in moderation.
in moderation.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. A lot of us get hooked on something and we stay on it forever.
Mm.
Okay? I would love if Coca-Cola brought back cane sugar, but that's not happening anytime soon.
Yeah. You know, 'cause like I said, we spend a lot of time in Mexico and everything tastes different
Yeah, the bottled Coke down there.
because it is different.
I
And
can't
it's
tell
the
you
contents.
the
Yeah,
number
it's
of
what they make it with.
patients I've had who've gone to Europe on a trip and tell me how all their symptoms went away when they were there.
I mean, there's something to it, y'all. There's
Mhm.
something to it, and I can tell when I eat better, and I eat pretty healthy. I'm a big avocado fan. You like avocado? Avocados are super. Everybody says they're healthy, and to me, they're like a perfect food, really, right? Are they just kind of because they're good, healthy fat?
A handful of blueberries in the morning, an avocado at lunch, and if you can do it, a hunk of fish at dinner.
That's the key right there. That's the.
Sounds kind of Mediterranean to me.
Yeah, it does.
It does
It
sound
does.
a little Mediterranean. Yes, it
But he's
does.
not plugging any particular
Oh,
diet.
no.
Not
Oh, no.
plugging
No.
any
Would
particular
not be
diet,
doing anything.
but that kind of sounds pretty good. But everything in moderation, including moderation. I like
Eskimos eat a lot of salmon, and the
Yeah.
Eskimos that ate more salmon had less heart disease.
that. Huh.
You go down to the lower 48, people that ate salmon twice a week had less heart disease than people that didn't.
See, I'm not.
Do-do-do-do-do.
I know. I've got to learn to cook salmon. I've got some friends from Egypt, and she's been trying. She makes perfect salmon, just perfect. She's the only person that makes it that I really like it. And I've called her 2 or 3 times. Okay, tell me how you did that, and she just laughs at me. She says it's really not that hard, LaVern. But it's something she brought with her in the way they do it. And again, it's just I don't know. I guess I rush it.
Yeah.
Or something. But anyway, so is the salmon that we get that's frozen at the grocery store, is it any good?
I don't know. I think it's better than no salmon, personally. It's the omega-free
Okay.
fatty acids, and of course, if you get wild salmon, they're higher in that content than the farm-raised stuff.
Well, see, I've got one of my kids is he's a vegetarian that eats fish. What do you call that? It's like I don't know. He's
Pescatarian?
I think that's it.
Pescatarian.
I think that's it. And he lives on salmon, so he's super healthy then, because he more than likely.
He's giving himself a better shot.
Okay.
Okay. Now,
Very
the
good.
people that are vegetarian, excuse me if I offend anybody, people that are vegetarian or eat salmon all day, they still die. Okay.
Yeah.
But the question is, do they have less premature heart disease and cancer? And the answer is yes.
Okay.
But those statistics, they aren't 100%. It's not 0 on the one side, 100 on the other. It's just they fare better.
Okay.
So if you have a family history and you want to steer yourself in the right direction, consult your doctor, get the medicines that are appropriate for you, and think twice about what it is you're going to eat.
I think that's great. Oh, you're fine. You're fine. This is small town radio. We're not that formal, but anyway, we're talking with the Ennis brothers.
From other mothers.
There you go. We're talking with Pete Long Ennis. Which one's Scottish or Irish?
The long is mine. Mine is the Scottish. His
is the Irish. And then Dr. Craig Ennis, the Irish spelling, but again, same name. But anyway, I think that's cute. We got to do a break. And so we're going to come back and continue our conversation. We love what's going on at Northcrest. Is it TriStar or Northcrest?
TriStar Northcrest.
I know. I invert it.
I know.
We all do.
It's opposite day.
There you go. It's opposite day.
daughter told me.
TriStar Northcrest. And having a great conversation. And we've got some great doctors, guys. You need to check them out. If you've been traveling, going to doctors, make some phone calls and see. And Brittany Jepson is the one who's pointed me to all the wonderful doctors here. And I appreciate it so much because it's made a big difference. And I mean, you don't want to drive to Nashville anymore. I mean, it's like miserable. The traffic reporter and me will tell you traffic's terrible. It's terrible there all the time. And we've got so many wonderful options right here. We are so blessed to have TriStar Northcrest and wonderful doctors like Dr. Ennis here.
Thank you.
He's fun to talk to, y'all. He's fun to talk to. So, and that's important in a doctor because so many doctors don't really have that personality. And you just think, okay, did they tell me anything I need to know? You seem like a doctor that's going to walk in and you're going to be able to have a conversation with and ask you crazy questions, and no question is a stupid question, right?
That's correct.
There you go. I love that. That's awesome. Need to check him out. Okay, so let's talk about our friends over at Valor Mortgage. You know, we've got to talk about the other side. We talk about Barry and Rebecca Richards all the time here because of all the things that they do with real estate. But one of the first things that they both will tell you is if you're going to go and look at to buy a home, you've got to find out before you do anything, how much home do you qualify for? And that's where Chris and the experienced loan officers at Valor can help you. With a quick phone call, you can call them at 615-671-9178, 615-671-9178, or you can go to valor.mortgage, get pre-approved today and find out exactly how much home you can buy. I tell a story of a friend of mine. They built this beautiful home and it was their dream home. But you know what? It was more home than they really could handle. And it was about a year in, they're like, this is too much. And they had to sell it, downsize, and do something different. Chris is going to, his team, they're going to make sure you don't do that you don't bite off more than you can chew. They're going to be super honest with you and help you work through one of the biggest decisions you're ever going to make. And that's buying a home or buying a second home. Maybe it's an investment property or just doing a refinance on your home. Whatever it may be, from VA loans, FHA loans, conventional jumbo financing, they have the tools to get you to the closing table. They're not just in the business of mortgage. They're in the business of making home ownership possible. And the big thing, you're not a number, you're a neighbor. When you call these 1-800 numbers and you're a number, the algorithm, they're going to wear you out, guys. With Valor, you're not a number, you're a neighbor. Reach out to them today because when it matters most, you deserve a lender you can trust. Buy with confidence, buy with Valor. Valor Mortgage, NMLS number 1210804, DBA of Encore Lending Group, NMLS 1249911, equal housing lender, subject to credit approval. Rates and terms subject to change without notice and not a commitment to lend. Let them know U-Turn sent you. What are we forgetting? We've still got about 5 minutes here. Anything that we're forgetting to?
I think it's important to raise awareness that Dr. Ennis is in Pleasant View now. So he has had a practice for a decade in Clarksville, very well-known name and presence there. And I think, we're obviously opening Robertson County into that Pleasant View area. We're going to be starting construction soon on our new freestanding ER over there, which we're really excited about. And so I think that, both with Dr. Ennis and the other physicians that are recruiting into that community, the freestanding ER, we're just adding to the medical gravity of this community. And I talk about that a lot with some of the physicians that we're bringing, but that's what we're trying to do is really change that value proposition for patients that have to, or feel like they have to right now go into Nashville. You can get that world-class care right here close to home. And so that's what we're thinking about is just where we can try and meet people where they are. And so this Pleasant View office is a great opportunity right on the interstate, from I-24 for those Clarksville patients, but also really easily accessible for Springfield or for anyone around there. But also when that freestanding's there's going to be a lot of patients that are going to be coming into that area, and so we're just thinking about what are the other providers we can bring into town, like Dr. Ennis, to meet that need.
For sure. And, you mentioned, we talked a little bit about the freestanding ER. What is the projection on that? You mentioned it last time we were in.
We'll look to open right at the end of Q1 probably. So right around springtime. We're starting
amazing
construction
that it's coming
here.
that quick.
It is, and it'll
really
be real
is.
fast.
Yeah.
I think we're optimistic of saving some weeks on the construction schedule once we get started, but we'll see once the winter gets going, our timeline. But we'll obviously be coming back here if you'll have us and talk about that.
Once a month. We have y'all in every month.
And get all the particulars out there.
Okay, very good. We've really enjoyed this. This has been great. And United Way normally is in here on Thursdays, and so they gave up a slot for y'all. So
our friends at United Way,
that's
we
right.
work
They're
really
awesome.
closely with them.
Very definitely.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. And then I'm thinking about access to all of this Pleasant View ER. We got our White House freestanding that's going to be opening probably in October, so that's really soon. And all of that is really around this kind of northwestern corridor development. We've got a CON for a TriStar Clarksville Hospital, and so really Certificate of Need. Thank you. That's acronyms of the biz. But that hospital is going to require a lot of physician recruitment, and so we're building medical staff. And I think that Northcrest and Hendersonville and all the other great TriStar locations are great opportunities for those providers who are known to that community to continue to provide that great care and then bridge towards that growth potential in the next couple of years.
Very good. Well, how can they get in touch with How can they get in touch with you, Dr. Ennis?
All right. So I always forget the phone number. Sorry, but I'm in Pleasant View. I'm right off the interstate on exit 24. It's the Frist Clinic. So I'm actually part of the Frist Clinic, which is in downtown, but I don't go downtown. I'm only up here. So that number is 615-382-3720. 615-382-3720. Operators are standing by.
There you go. You're fun. You're fun. That's great. Well, I'm so glad to meet you. Good to see you again.
Good to see you again
and,
as well.
In Tennessee, it's 8:00 and everybody's supposed to be singing "I Will Always Love You" by Dolly Parton. I don't know if you saw that.
Yes.
I don't. Yeah, that's supposed to be going. And I don't think, because of our content, I don't think we have that on our playlist. I can flip over, but we're all missing Dolly today, just absolute treasure. And it was so unexpected. I think that's the thing. But
if we all could live our life as half as full as her, we'd all be great.
Wouldn't that be just beautiful? Wouldn't that be just beautiful? And she's living her best life now. I'm a follower of Jesus Christ, and I know where she is. Yeah. And I am faithful, and so was she. And we live in kingdom now. She just got to step through. And anyway, she's just a beautiful person. And I wish she's definitely one of them I wish I could have said I met, but did not. But I will sure be honoring her today. So everybody's honoring Dolly at 8:00 across the state today. So I hope you'll do the same. And thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Both of you, it was fun. God bless you guys.
Thank you.
Hope you'll join us tomorrow. Rachel Culver is going to be joining me for Faith Friday right here on 1100 WSGI. Have a fabulous day. God bless you all.
Front row Sunday school, little 5-year-old me. King James in my hand, quoting John 3:16. I didn't know it then, but reading it would change my life.